Here are 3 price targets that I have for Ondo in 2025. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, if someone is wondering, okay, when exactly in 2025, hypothetically, approximately, right? I do talk about that later on in the video. However, with that being said, my first case price target for Ondo, which is my worst case scenario price target, by the way, is going to be $15. And the reason for that is because I do believe that Ondo is that special. And I think it could actually be one of the best, or considered as to be one of the best projects that is having this aspect of decentralized finance, aka DeFi. And let me explain why. Because even, for instance, it's even been stated how when it comes to Ondo, they design institutional grade platforms, assets, and infrastructure to bring financial markets on chain. Now, here's where things get a little bit more cooking, because allegedly, we take a look at how, for instance, they have a platform that is currently, it's been stated, or allegedly, I should say, not available in the US as of right now. However, besides that, this platform does allow individuals to buy, sell, and trade thousands of tokens backed one-to-one by traditional stocks, bonds, and ETFs. So yeah, that's massive in my opinion. Now, this quite essentially is thousands of RWAs on just one platform. Now, people may be thinking, okay, what does this even mean and why is it so special? It's because if you take a look at RWA, what that stands for is real world asset. Now, if we take a look at, for instance, RWA tokenization, or for instance, RWA tokens. Now, these are digital representations of physical assets on the blockchain. Examples can include, for instance, art, commodities, stocks, bonds. The list is very impressive. So when you take a look at something like this, man, it does really showcase how special, RWA is. Now, people may be thinking, okay, Ondo is not the only project that has this, and I'll agree with that. There's actually quite a lot. However, in my opinion, this is still very special nonetheless. And I think that Ondo could very well be one of the leaders when it comes to this market. Only time will tell though, but that's just the way I view it. Not to mention, we take a look at how currently Ondo has a total value locked of over $500 million. So that is very impressive. And not to mention as well, if you take a look at Ondo, something that could be massive for it moving forward, however, still, it has to be proven yet. But what is that thing, right? That is the Ondo chain. Now, allegedly, this right here, the purpose of it, I should say, right, is purpose-built for institutional grade RWAs. And again, I've talked about RWA, previously in the beginning of the video, sort of at that time, right? And again, we know how special that is. So when I take a look at something like Ondo, it really is very special. Now, we also have to take a look at why, when it comes to DeFi, this is massive. Because you take a look at decentralized finance, that market right there is predicted to be worth over $200 billion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. So yeah, that's a very massive market. Now, you also take a look at the global trade and finance market, which Ondo is focused on, in my opinion. And that right there is expected to have a valuation of up to $5 trillion. Again, its market size by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. Not to mention, another market that Ondo is focused on is payments, which currently, as we speak, is a market that is valued at over $2 trillion. So when it comes to Ondo, I do really love this. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a no-brainer pick for me. Focus on the right markets, listed in a bunch of major exchanges, good community. I don't see how I can go wrong with this. And now, of course, I don't only just hold Ondo, but I do believe that it has to be one of my foundational pieces in my portfolio. And again, when I see something this special and this amazing, $15 as my worst case scenario price target for this bull run, I just don't see why not. Now, with that being said, my second price target for Ondo is going to be $17.50. Now, some people may think that, okay, this is a little bit ridiculous. It's impossible. Well, I disagree with that hypothetically, of course, because I can't guarantee anything and I can't tell the future. But the way I view it is that if it were to go to the price of $17 again and 50 cents, at that point, market cap, considering current circulating supply, would be around $55 billion, which I don't see why that's too bad, really. I mean, we've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion. Back in 2021, that year, we saw Shiba Inu reach around 40 billion. Also, XRP, even as of right now, has a market cap of over $100 billion. And also, back in 2021, BNB reached over $100 billion in market cap. I'm not talking about some crazy record-breaking figures or anything like that. Like, I don't think Ondo is going to be the biggest project of all time, but this doesn't seem so bad. At least that's the way I view it. Now, my third and final price target is, of course, going to be Ondo at the price of $20. Now, why do I think this could hypothetically be a reality? It's because take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, not to mention as well, you take a look at how there's over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, which is more than ever before in history. I think this board could be very special. Man, I think that when I consider all those factors, and also when it comes to how projects like Ondo really are gaining a lot of good traction in terms of, its large-scale community, the passion, the drive that the community has, I do believe that this could be something special. And again, $20 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Now, how soon? Some people may be wondering, okay, usually altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, are we 18 months removed from the last Bitcoin halving event? No, we're not, because the last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April of last year. So we're not even a year removed from then, right? But even besides that, 18 months from April of last year would be around October this year in 2025. So that right there is why I tell this video 2025 price targets. Am I guaranteeing that Ondo as a worst case is going to peak at October? No, I'm not saying that. However, I think if anything, it is a good benchmark because this is based off of history. Now, there's no telling if history is going to repeat itself this time. But I think if anything, again, it's more so of a good gauge, so to speak. It can maybe happen later, which is totally okay because, I'll accumulate more anyways. But if it happens earlier, of course, I'd be very happy. So really, any way I view it, it's a, good situation, right? My strategy is going to stay the same, which is dollar cost averaging. So anytime I do an income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it. I am not one to day trade or use leverage or swing trade. That's just not my vibe. It's not my style. I don't like doing that type of stuff, really. I mean, think about this, right? If I'm constantly worried about whatever happens to the price every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or like even, let alone like 10, 15 days or something like that, that would just make no sense because I am not in this space to leave after a week or a month or 2 months. No, this is not what I do. When I believe in something, I think more so about the long term. And I think about what something could be hypothetically given, during a fully fledged bull run, right? Like when things are peaking, when things are pumping, when the FOMO buying pressure and buying volume is very amazing. I'm more so taking a look at that time frame. I don't really care about like a 10, 15, 20% movement in a couple days. Like, nah, that's just not my style. I've seen a lot of people who day trade or use leverage or swing trade. That's totally their choice. And I'm not saying that it's going to work bad for everyone, right? Because who knows? Now, however, for all the people that I know, it hasn't really worked out well for them, which is why I don't do it. And again, it's just very simple. Anytime I'm income, acquiring, holding, and just waiting, that's it. I just dollar cost average because when I see a project as special as Ondo at the price of $20 during this bull run, I don't see why not. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.